Most people don't realize they started the game on hardcore mode. They wake up, go to work, get paid, spend money, pay bills, buy food, swipe the card, order something, upgrade something, and somehow convince themselves they are doing okay. But behind the screen, their financial character is walking into every new month with no armor, no healing items, no backup weapon, no safe room, and barely enough resources to survive the next wave. And the crazy part is, they don't even know they're in danger yet. Because when life is calm, it feels like you're winning. The paycheck hits, the rent gets paid, the phone still works, the car still starts, the job is still there. The bills are annoying but manageable, so you keep moving forward like everything is fine. But that is not financial safety. That is just the game being quiet for a moment. And in survival games, quiet does not mean safe. Quiet usually means something is about to happen. That is exactly how real life works. You can have a normal week, a normal paycheck, a normal routine, and then suddenly the next wave starts. Your car breaks down, your phone dies, your hours get cut, rent goes up, a medical bill shows up, something in your apartment breaks, your pet gets sick, your family needs help, your card gets charged for something you forgot existed. And if you don't have an emergency fund, that one random event turns into a full boss fight. A $400 problem becomes credit card debt. A $700 car repair becomes a payment plan. A missed week of work becomes rent panic. A small emergency becomes a financial infection that keeps spreading because you had no defense when the first hit landed. That is what an emergency fund really is. It is not some boring savings account. It is not just money sitting there. It is your shield. It is your medkit. It is your backup ammo. It is the thing that keeps one bad hit from ending the entire run. And without it, you are not just broke, you are exposed. You are playing life like a character who put every skill point on attack and 0 points on defense. You might look like you are progressing, you might be making money, you might even be investing a little. But the second real life lands a critical hit, your whole build collapses. That is the problem with trying to get rich before you learn how to survive. Everybody wants the legendary weapon, everybody wants the high-level build, everybody wants the side hustle, the investing portfolio, the crypto play, the business idea, the new car, the better apartment, the upgraded setup, the lifestyle that makes it feel like you finally leveled up.
But nobody wants to grind the basic survival stats. Nobody wants to save the first $500. Nobody wants to build the first $1,000. Nobody wants to keep money untouched in a separate account. Nobody wants to do the boring mission that doesn't give instant rewards. But in every real game, the boring preparation is what keeps you alive when the screen gets chaotic. You don't wait until the horde is already climbing the wall to look for ammo. You don't wait until your health bar is flashing red to wonder if you packed a medkit. You don't wait until the boss fight starts to ask if your loadout makes sense. So why do people do that with money? They wait until the emergency happens, then they start looking for a solution. They wait until the car breaks, then they wonder how to pay for it. They wait until the job gets shaky, then they start caring about savings. They wait until the credit card is maxed out, then they realize the interest rate is eating them alive. That is not a strategy, that is panic gameplay. And panic gameplay is expensive. When you have no emergency fund, you don't get to make smart choices. You make desperate choices. You don't choose the best option, you choose the fastest option. You swipe the card, you take the bad loan, you overdraft, you borrow from someone, you accept terrible terms, you sell something you didn't want to sell, you stay stuck in a situation because you can't afford to move. That is the hidden cost of having no defense. It is not just that emergencies cost money, it is that emergencies with no savings steal your options. Money is not just numbers, money is mobility, money is breathing room, money is time. Money is the ability to take a hit without losing your entire position. And that is why your emergency fund has to come before the flashy stuff. before the investing montage, before the business arc, before the lifestyle upgrade, before the expensive car, before the apartment that barely fits your budget, before the new phone you don't need, before the new gaming setup, before the I deserve it purchase that feels good for 10 minutes and then leaves your account weaker for the next wave.
Your first mission is survival. Not because survival is the end goal, but because you cannot build wealth if every emergency sends you back to level 1. Think about it like this. Every time you start saving money and then an unexpected bill wipes you out, that is not just annoying, that is a progress reset. You were building momentum, and then the game dragged you back to the spawn point. Emergency fund means fewer resets. It means when life attacks, you lose some resources, but not the whole run. You repair the damage, refill the account, and keep moving. You don't spiral into debt. You don't lose sleep for weeks. You don't turn one problem into 5 problems. That is financial defense. And the first checkpoint is not huge. You don't need to start with 6 months of expenses. That sounds impossible for someone who is already living paycheck to paycheck. That is like spawning into the first mission and seeing the final boss health bar across the screen. Of course you feel overwhelmed. Start with the first checkpoint, $500. That is your starter shield. It will not block everything, but it can block a lot of small hits. A minor repair, a surprise bill, a necessary replacement, a random life problem that would have gone straight onto a credit card. Then your next checkpoint is $1,000. That is when your build starts feeling different. Not because $1,000 makes you rich, but because it proves you can save. It proves you can hold resources instead of spending them the second they drop. It proves you are no longer playing like every paycheck is just loot to burn before the next mission. After that, your next level is 1 month of essential expenses. And be careful with that word, essential. Not your full lifestyle, not restaurants, not random shopping, not subscriptions you barely use, not delivery because you didn't feel like cooking, not upgrades, not impulse buys. Essential means rent, food, utilities, transportation, insurance, minimum debt payments, and the basic things that keep your life running. 1 month of essentials is when you stop feeling completely defenseless.
You are still not invincible. You are still not rich. But now, if life throws a wave at you, you don't instantly collapse. You have space. You have time. You have a buffer between you and disaster. Then, over time, you build toward 3 months. For most people, 3 months of essential expenses is a strong emergency fund. It gives you enough room to handle a job loss, a bigger repair, a medical situation, or a rough season without instantly falling into debt. And if your income is unstable, if you freelance, if your job is risky, if you have people depending on you, or if your life has more uncertainty, then 6 months can make sense. But do not obsess over the final number at the start. Your mission is not to complete the entire game today. Your mission is to reach the next safe room. $500, then $1,000, then 1 month, then 3 months, then 6 months if your life needs that level of defense. That is how you build it, checkpoint by checkpoint. But here is where most people fail. They build the emergency fund, then they keep stealing from their own inventory. They save $300, then a sale appears. They save $600, then they want new shoes. They save $900, then they convince themselves a weekend trip is basically an emergency because they feel stressed. They save $1,000, then they upgrade their phone because the old one is annoying. And just like that, the shield is gone before the fight even starts. So you need a rule. Emergency money is not spending money. A discount is not an emergency. Boredom is not an emergency. A new outfit is not an emergency. A better setup is not an emergency. A concert is not an emergency. A vacation is not an emergency. A random Amazon cart is not an emergency. A car upgrade you don't need is not an emergency. Those things can be goals. They can be saved for separately, but they do not come out of the survival kit. Your emergency fund needs its own inventory slot. not mixed with your checking account, not sitting next to your spending money, not in the same place where your brain sees it and says, "We have extra money."
Because your brain will lie to you. Your brain will see $1,000 in checking and think you are safe to spend $200, then another $100, then another $80, and suddenly your emergency fund didn't get destroyed by an emergency. It got destroyed by vibes. Put it somewhere separate, a savings account, a high-yield savings account, somewhere easy enough to access if a real emergency happens, but not so easy that you use it because you got bored at midnight. This is not about being extreme. This is about protecting your future self from your impulsive self. Because the enemy is not always some huge disaster. Sometimes the enemy is small spending that keeps weakening your armor before the real fight even begins. Food delivery, subscriptions, random upgrades, convenience purchases, buying things because you're stressed, buying things because you're bored, buying things because everyone else has them, buying things to feel like you're doing better than you are. That is how people stay vulnerable. Not always from one giant mistake, but from dozens of tiny resource leaks. And then when a real emergency comes, they say, "I don't know where all my money went." It went into small holes in the armor. That is why building an emergency fund is not just about saving. It is about changing how you play. You stop treating every paycheck like a reward chest. You stop spending first and saving whatever survives. You reverse it. You get paid, and before the money gets attacked by bills, ads, impulses, subscriptions, and lifestyle upgrades, you move some of it into protection. Even if it is $20, even if it is $50, even if it feels small. Small resources stored consistently become defense. And the real power of an emergency fund is not just math, it is mental. When you have no savings, every problem feels louder, every bill feels like a threat, every unexpected charge feels personal. You wake up already behind. You check your balance like you are checking your health bar after taking damage. You wait for payday like it is the next safe room. That kind of stress changes how you think. You become reactive. You become impatient. You make bad decisions faster because you feel trapped. And when you feel trapped, even a bad option starts looking like a door. But when you have an emergency fund, your mind gets calmer. You still have problems, but they don't hit the same. You still get bills, but they don't feel like a death screen. You still have bad weeks, but they don't automatically become financial disasters.
That is what a shield does. It does not stop the enemy from existing. It stops every hit from being fatal. And this is why a lot of people misunderstand financial confidence. Financial confidence is not walking around with designer clothes, a car payment you can barely afford, and a credit card balance hiding behind the scenes. That is not confidence. That is a low-health character wearing expensive armor skins. Real confidence is knowing that if something breaks tomorrow, you can handle it. Real confidence is knowing that if your paycheck is late, you are not instantly destroyed. Real confidence is knowing that one bad day will not turn into 3 months of debt. That kind of confidence is quiet. Nobody claps for it. Nobody sees it on Instagram. Nobody knows you skipped the dumb purchase and put the money into savings instead. But you know, and future you will know. Future you will know when the car breaks and you don't panic. Future you will know when the bill comes and you don't swipe a credit card. Future you will know when life gets chaotic and you realize you finally have a defense system. That is the point. Not to look rich, not to impress people, not to win some imaginary lifestyle competition. The point is to stop being easy to destroy. Because the truth is, life will keep sending waves. There will always be another bill, another repair, another price increase, another problem you didn't plan for, another moment where the game suddenly gets harder. You cannot control every wave, but you can control whether you enter the next one empty-handed. So before you chase the next big money move, check your loadout.
Do you have $500 saved? Do you have $1,000? Do you have 1 month of essentials? Do you have anything between you and the next emergency? If the answer is no, that does not mean you failed. It means you found your next mission. Build the shield. Start small. Move money the moment you get paid. Cut one recurring expense. Sell something you don't use. Cook at home a few more times. Skip one impulse purchase. Keep your old phone longer. Avoid the car payment you cannot afford. Stop letting small spending drain your resources before the real fight starts. And every time you save, even a little, you are upgrading your defenses. Every $20 is not just $20, it is a little more distance between you and panic. Every $100 is not just $100, it is one less problem that has to go on a credit card. Every $500 is not just $500, it is a wall between one bad day and a financial disaster. That is how you stop playing life on hardcore mode.
Not by becoming rich overnight. Not by finding some secret money glitch. Not by copying influencers who make debt look normal. But by doing the basic survival mission that most people skip because it looks boring. Build the emergency fund. Protect it. Only use it for real emergencies. Refill it when you use it. And keep leveling it up until normal chaos can no longer wipe you out. Because before you become wealthy, you have to become hard to kill financially. That is the real first level. And once you understand that, money starts feeling different. You stop seeing savings as money you cannot spend, and you start seeing it as armor you are wearing every day. You may not see it on the screen, but it is there, protecting you, buying time, reducing panic, keeping you in the game. So no, an emergency fund will not make you look rich. It will not give you instant status. It will not feel exciting like buying something new. But when life sends the next wave, you will be glad you built it. Because without an emergency fund, every hit is dangerous. But with one, you finally stop playing scared. And that is when the real game begins.